Yeah. Did you run your Sonita slaps today?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Nice. 3 of them?
Yep.
Okay, nice. See, I'm starting to learn your routine, so I'm gonna have to keep you in check now to make sure you're on point every Tuesday.
I know. You should come out and join.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to. Hey, and speaking of which, I have a buddy coming from Wisconsin who is interested in running up to Long's Peak and back from Boulder on July 8th.
Ooh.
So that is a Thursday. So I'm guessing we would start really late Thursday night.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if you work Friday. I'm guessing you probably do, but if you could get Friday off, that's probably the day we're going to be out there.
Oh yeah.
Thursday night to Friday night.
Okay.
So yeah, you're totally welcome to come with. I've never met this guy. I say he's a buddy. I've talked to him online a bunch of times, and he's friends of mine. I've never actually met him, but he's coming out here with his family for, I think, a week. And, he's like, I got to get my wife's permission, but I think I'm going to be able to do this. So he and I were talking about it. So I thought I would at least bring it up to you because, yeah, you're totally welcome. So put it on your calendar.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So forgive all the redundancy of me asking you the same questions over and over again, but let's get into it.
Okay.
All right. How did you find this crazy world of ultra running?
Oh, so I dated a guy who was like a quote ultra runner.
Okay.
And he was friends with Paul Pomeroy, who I believe was the first guy to do the Boulder to Long's Peak and back.
Okay.
Epic legend. Like, I'm so honored that, like, I call him my ultra running mentor. Like, he let me join him and pace and crew for him for so many things, and I learned so much. So really, Paul took me in, and he's the one who introduced me to the Boulder Trail Runners.
Okay.
And that was kind of my huge community, and still is. They're my family. And met, some awesome, crazy folks, and we've been doing some crazy shit together ever since.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
So you said Paul was like a mentor to you. What sort of things did he teach you? What did you learn from him?
I learned probably grit from him.
How do you teach grit?
Well, I mean, just from crewing and pacing so much. Okay. I've been there for his Millens attempt. I've been there when he did the White Rim Trail. I've seen a lot. I've seen him like almost die. For someone to just be so into something and not let go, no matter the consequences, no matter the, the challenges, is an amazing thing to see. And I love his love for challenges. And I mean, he makes up all of the stuff he's done. Like, he made up in his head. It wasn't just like he stole it from somebody else. Cause I'll admit, like, I mean, all my long run routes, like, I steal off of Strava and stuff like that. So like, he doesn't do that. He just is like, oh, I'm just going to go do this. And he just makes it up on his own.
Okay.
So, so yeah, I think, it's just, I mean, he's shared so many stories, and, yeah, he's a really amazing person if you get the chance. I don't know if you've met him, but
No, I know the name. I don't think I have met him. I've heard a few people talking about him, so I got to get this guy on the show, and I gotta meet this guy.
Should.
Totally.
Yeah.
Hook me up with that if you can. I'd love to have him on the show.
Yeah. I mean, he was the first guy to do the FKT for the Cocopelli Trail. I think he still has FKT on, I don't know if it's the ascent or descent. He had it both, but now one of them has been broken. But of Sanitas,
okay.
He still has the standing record for like as many laps on Sanitas.
Wow.
I mean, I could go on and on, but he's a very humble guy, and he has a lot to share. So
yeah, cool. Isn't that funny how the most badass ultra runners are really laid back and humble, and it's hard to get anything out of them because they don't want to talk about themselves. You know, it's like, tell me all the badass things you've done. And they're like, I did this adventure. I almost died. It was no big deal, And you got to pull stuff out of them because, yeah, once you get to that level, I think there's just a big level of humility that comes with it. Like you just get a different glimpse of the world and realize how small you are, maybe.
Oh yeah.
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 But you've been running your whole life though, right?
Yeah. I mean, I hit it pretty hard starting as early as 11 years old.
What,
um,
what does it look like for an 11-year-old to hit it hard?
well, I got recruited by my high school team, by the high school team when I was in middle school.
Mm.
And we just like immediately, we became one of the top teams in the nation, but that was like, that involved a lot of heavy training and a lot of competitive races year round. And that was also, I mean, that was a huge part of the beginning of, you know, how this all started. I mean, my high school team was like my family, and unfortunately, I didn't have a great experience in college running. But I've heard that's common.
What was
But
your experience?
so like I said, I went from like my team being my family, and you know, everything was about doing this together. To in college, it was very competitive to the point where like every single run, every single day was a race. There is a lot of heavy like eating disorders. And I couldn't be around that. That was just like, it just wasn't something I wanted to be a part of, and it wasn't worth it to me.
Yeah.
My coach was pretty hard. It just became something that was, it became unfun. And as soon as something becomes unfun for me, I back out, because life is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be like serious.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. So even at that age, you had the sort of wherewithal to like say, this is a sort of unhealthy environment for me. I don't want to be here.
Exactly. I mean, there was a hint of it in high school.
Okay.
So I knew, I saw the red flags.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this chance to come out to Boulder. I was actually studying abroad in Africa before I came out to Boulder.
Oh.
I really wanted to stay in Africa, but I was a poor college student, so I couldn't just be like, I'm just gonna leave my deposit there. But I mean, I came out to Boulder. I mean, as much as I did not enjoy my college experience, like it brought me out to Boulder. And I pretty much have been here ever since. I mean, I lived in South Dakota for like 5 months, but other than that, like I fell in love, and I'm here, and I still love it very much.
Yeah. Boulder's the best. Like I don't get sick of it.
Right.
If we go on vacation somewhere, like we go out to Moab or, you know, somewhere else, the Western plain of Colorado, it's like, I just want to get home. I just want to get back to
Right.
Boulder. Like those are my trails. We've got some world-class trails, I think, when it comes to trail running and the training we can do here.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So why did you choose Boulder?
So it's funny, my high school team, we all went up to different colleges to run, but then every year, the seniors from high school would put together that they would come to Boulder for the summer to train in the altitude. But it was those seniors senior year in high school and college. So it was my last chance to come and train with them. So I was like, okay, I gotta go. So I came. I actually came off an injury in my sophomore year. I like actually fractured the hip of my femur, or the neck of my femur.
Whoa.
And I had to swim in the pool for 8 to 10 hours a day. It was awful. So I was coming off an injury, came to Boulder, just fell in love with it. And I was either going to go back home for a year or stay. And I was like, oh, I'm staying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Why did you have to swim in the pool for 8 to 10 hours a day? What was going on there?
because I didn't want to lose my fitness.
Okay.
And my coach was like, he was like, well, go run in the pool. So there it was.
Oh, I love it. Okay. So, through a couple friends, you kind of discovered ultra running, and then you just dove right into it, right? I mean, was there any hesitation on your part? Like maybe I should study up on these races, or maybe I should do some big practice runs that are almost as big as those races, or how did it look for you?
Oh no, I mean, I think I mentioned before, I was actually doing a lot of single speed cross training on my bike.
Yeah.
Because my first ultra was the Never Summer, loved it. And I mean, I was hooked. Once I did Never Summer, I was like, that was it. I was all in.
What hooked you in?
Oh my God. Have you done Never Summer?
I haven't. No.
It is so insanely beautiful. It's still one of my favorite races to this day. It's just, yeah, it was insanely beautiful. It was very challenging. And I think the camaraderie, like that was when I realized, like, I mean, coming from college running and then to this camaraderie of like, we're all going to get up this diamond peak where like you're basically about to fall backwards. It's so steep. And yeah, it was so cool that everyone was in this together and helping each other and like just sharing this. It was a shared experience. It wasn't like who's going to win. It was like, how can we enjoy this together and how can we optimize that?
Yeah. 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 I mean, in a lot of ways, that's how my first ultra was. Like, you know, I dabbled around in triathlon for a while, and I would go to these races, even like Ironman distance races, and not talk to anybody like all day at the race. And everyone's so focused on themselves, you know? And then when I did my first ultra was a 38-mile fun run at night. And I made like 8 new best friends that are still best friends with me till today, you know? So it was just a completely different world. And I'm like, okay, these are my people. This makes sense. Yeah. And most recently, well, not most recently, 2 races ago, right? You did Cocodona. You haven't done a race since I talked to you last, have you?
No.
Okay. I'm kind of surprised. Okay. So you took a week off from racing. That's pretty incredible. And to anybody listening, Laura did the Cocodona 250, and then it was 1 week later, right? Was it 2 weeks later you did a 100-miler?
No, I think it was exactly a month later.
Oh, is that long?
May have been 3 weeks.
Okay. But that's crazy. Like, I mean, I'm an ultra runner. Ultra runners listen to this, but I got to ask you, like, what are you thinking? Why are you so crazy? What's going on?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't taper. I signed up the Tuesday before the race. Honestly, like all my friends were out of town. And I just needed something to do. I mean, yeah, I could have gone and done a long run, but my friend said, hey, you should come to Mace's Hideout, which I wanted to do, I think last year, but COVID had prevented that. But I don't know, like what's better than going up in the mountains and spending a weekend up in the mountains?
Yeah, totally. No, I agree 100%. But after a 250-mile effort, I think my legs would be pretty torched for a good month or so. Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like I recovered pretty well.
Okay.
I did learn from Mace's Hideout that my back is not recovered, nor is my nose. But we're gonna work on that.
Okay. So you had a bloody nose at the 100 too.
I did. The RD, I have to say this because I just think it's funny. The RD had to, what are they called? Not motorcycle, but what's dirt bike. He had a dirt bike up the trail and give me ice for my nose.
Oh my gosh.
In the middle of the night.
That's a good race director.
Yeah, he's awesome. Well, the funny thing is, so I met this race director at Cocodona. Oh. He was pacing this guy named Lynn, who was also at Mace's Hideout. Okay. And so that RD is nuts, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. Okay. So when you signed up for Cocodona, what were you thinking? Had you ever done a 200-miler before? Where was your head at? Did you know what you were getting yourself into?
No. No, I've never done a 200-mile before. I wanted to, but I wanted to get more hundreds underneath my belt and feel more comfortable and confident.
Okay.
And then a friend had sent me like the little, like, it's a very short video, but it was like a 2-minute video, race preview with a video, that he sent out like a year in advance. And I like literally signed up right away.
Nice.
But no, I had no idea what I was doing. I had asked a lot of people. I reached out to a lot of people for, information. Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just going for it.
Okay. Yeah. So I've done a bunch of hundreds. I'm doing my first 200 coming up this summer.
That's fun.
Sangre de Cristo 200.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm pretty pumped about that. But what did your training look like going up to Cocodona? Do you feel like you trained properly for it? Or was it just like bits and pieces of training in between work and juggling life? Or what was it like for you?
I do have to say, I feel like I was pretty well trained for it. I was doing back-to-backs every weekend. I mean, for like a full year.
Okay.
Um,
How far?
so I did at least once or twice a month. I was doing a 50 miler on a Saturday and a 50K on a Sunday.
Whoa.
Otherwise, if I wasn't doing a 50 miler, then it was like back-to-back 50Ks.
Yep.
Um, and then I'd get, anywhere between 70 to 100 miles a week. And I typically get about 20 to 30,000 feet of gain a week.
Mm.
And I did some pretty big efforts that had a lot of gain in it. So I think that was really helpful. I did a lot of hundreds last year or within the last year. I think that's what helped me with like feeling like I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
Um,
How many hundreds
especially-
did you do within the last year?
um, at least 5 or 6.
Whoa. Okay. In 1 year. Were they all organized events or were they like COVID sort of self-support?
COVID DIYs, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Which really helped because I mean, honestly, they're harder because you have to carry more.
Yeah.
And you just have to plan a lot more.
For sure.
And yeah, I think you definitely have and like a lot of my long runs and stuff, I think what helped was like, if I ran out of water, I mean, I think that helped with Cocodona. It was like, I could get through a long time without water because I had experienced plenty of that before.
For sure.
Or like food. And I just did like a lot of like bigger event stuff that maybe weren't 100 milers, but just like bigger, different kind of events.
Okay. Like what? I know you did the LA freeway, which is no joke. That's pretty awesome. What other sort of big adventures did you get up to over the last year?
Yeah, so LA freeway, I think was probably my number one thing I would say would help attribute to like, because it was a multi-day.
Yeah.
And probably, and obviously very, very challenging. So I think that was very helpful. But when I did my Everesting of Sanitas, I think that was more of like a confidence boost, like knowing I can do that much gain just over a day,
How many trips around Sanitas was that?
23 laps.
In 24 hours? No.
30 hours.
30 hours. Okay. Got it. Wow. That's legit.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So, excuse me. I'm fighting allergies, so I apologize. And I'm on allergy medicine too. So if I'm a little wonky, I apologize. So do you prefer like the self-supported DIY type adventures, or do you prefer races if you had to choose?
That's tough because I do like setting up my own challenge and creating it. There's definitely like a fun factor of that. But for example, I still can't stop thinking about Mace's Hideout because, I mean, yes, it was very challenging, but I ran like 80 miles of that with an acquaintance of mine. I mean, obviously now a friend, but his name is Alex. I met him through a friend. We ran 80 miles together and had literally the time of our lives. Like he made a little video. It was so cute, but like, I can't stop thinking about that. And the thing about DIY projects, Everesting, I had people come, but it wasn't like someone did it with me the entire time.
Okay.
LA freeway, that was definitely like the experience of my life, and I will never forget that. That's probably still my top #1 experience.
Yeah.
But I think it's the experiences that you get to spend the entire time with one or a few people. I think that's what makes it. It's not even the scenery. It's just like that, again, that shared experience.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, you seem really easy to get along with. Have you ever been out on big, long day, multi-day adventures with someone that you didn't get along with?
No.
Never? Okay, good.
It's hard for me not to get along with people. Like I mean, there's people maybe I don't like as much.
Yeah.
But no, because either people are just really quiet, and that's like a challenge for me. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna crack you. Keep talking. I want to hear your life story.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna be quiet. This is not how it's gonna go. So no, not really. I mean, I can't really think of like, even if there was somebody I like wasn't like into, I just turn the situation around and I'm like, yeah, you enjoy it, and you make it what you want. You know what I mean? Like, kind of, what is that quote? You make life as you want it, or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. It's like the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah.
Right. Something like that. Anyways, I don't know. Okay. So tell me about Cocodona. I know that you were out on the course for a while, but it's 250 miles and it's way harder than anyone anticipated.
Yeah.
Based on all the reports I've heard and read and people I've talked to, like the first 30 miles was like a death march through the heat. Everybody was running out of water. What was your experience?
I keep thinking about that because I actually didn't mind the first 30 miles. Like
Really?
I for somehow I did okay.
Yeah.
I didn't run out of water literally till I got to the aid station. I obviously enjoy climbing, so I was all about the climb. I I had fun. I mean, it was hot. I do remember it being hot. And it was endless climb. I do remember the train being really hard, but like, to be honest, maybe just because I was fresh, that first part to me was like the easiest part of the whole thing.
Okay, good.
And I didn't even realize the carnage until I heard the stories afterwards.
Okay.
Except for like when I somehow caught up, like Ben Light caught up to me, like when I left that first crew accessible aid station, and all of a sudden there's Ben Light, and I'm like, what are you doing here? Like,
Yeah.
how did I catch up to you? So that was really cool. But yeah, to me it really wasn't bad for me. I do feel bad for everybody. I heard it was pretty bad.
Yeah. Did you come in fully tapered?
I did, yes.
Okay. So what did your taper look like before this?
So I called it a 2-week taper.
Okay.
So the first week of my 2-week taper, I did probably honestly, I think I did like a quarter of what I would normally do. And then I ended up doing, so then the second week, this is going to seem weird, but I did like for the first 3 days, I did probably about half of what I would normally do. And then I just didn't run for 4 days.
Oh.
So that may sound weird, but that's what I did.
The 4 days before the race, you didn't run? Okay. Got it. Okay. So the first 30 miles was a breeze for you. You just blew by everybody, made them look like sissies. Didn't run out of water. It was just another easy day for Laura. How was it after that? When did it start getting tough?
Yeah. So, I did have a little trouble in the night section. It was just like, it was crazy. It was just like this downhill, steep, loose, and then like it was either steep and loose downhill or steep and loose uphill. And there was like these gates where it took 2 people to close. And I thankfully ran into pretty much the group that I started with, because we started in waves. And then we all kind of all stuck together and I made friends. But I was definitely like slowing down a lot until I met that group at nighttime.
Okay.
I'm like notoriously bad at night.
Okay.
But
can't stay awake, or what usually suffers?
it's just dark. So I just like shut down. I'm just like, I don't know what it is. It really is mentally, because it's physically I'm fine. As soon as the sun comes up, I'm fine. Like,
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, the lights are out. So, what's the point of keeping moving,
Do you listen to music or audiobooks or anything while you're out there?
Yeah. So normally music does help. But after a hard day like that was, because I think at that point we had done 16,000 feet of gain, I believe.
Yeah.
And it was well over 40 miles. I don't even remember how many miles in I was. It might have been 60. I can't even remember. which isn't that much mileage wise, but I think the gain and the heat had caught
Sure.
up.
Yeah.
And I think I was moving pretty decently. But that caught up. And then I was fine. The problem was I couldn't sleep at, I forget, was it Lane Mountain? I don't remember what aid station it was. It was the second crew accessible station where most people slept, but I tried, but I couldn't.
Okay.
So I decided just to keep going. I tried for like 20 minutes and then I was like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
So I think that's when I ran into Prescott.
Okay.
And I think that's when I realized my back was hurting. So I doused up on icy hot and then I was fine. And that's when like I made a friend and we like ended up running like about 100 miles together.
Wow.
But the problem was that my back pain ended up really becoming a problem on the climb up Mingus Mountain. Because he started just like bolt up Mingus Mountain and I was okay for half of it, but then the back pain really came in. So then it was like for the rest of the race, I had like chronic back pain. And all we could do was just like icy hot it and massage it. And then, and the heat definitely got worse and worse. I just remember, so the section, was it the Lime Kiln Trail? I think that was the section after where Michael McKnight went to the hospital for heat stroke.
Yep.
So I made it fine through there. But then it was like 2 miles in after that where the bloody nose thing happened.
Okay. And
this guy comes running up. I think he was just like a local, or maybe he was just a friend of a crew. I don't know. He's like, did you know your nose is bleeding? And I was really trying my best, not to be really nice, but all I could do is nod. And he's like, you should put a tampon up that. And I'm like, well, I don't have a tampon. I don't just carry tampons on me.
Right.
But there was nothing we could do except for like keep going. But it only got worse. And then it was like not just one bloody nose, it was like literally a bloody nose. It was both nostrils were just bleeding constantly. It was just a waterfall.
Yep.
I went through all my toilet paper. We started using, I did have a pacer with me. We started using like buffs.
Okay.
The buffs weren't working. And it wasn't too bad. So it's funny because I think that was when, not too soon after, one of the photographers got a picture of me. And at that point, it wasn't like serious enough that we were concerned, or he didn't seem concerned.
Okay.
He got his picture.
Yeah.
But then shortly after that, it just got worse and worse and worse. But thankfully there was like I think it was a 12-mile section, maybe longer than that, but there was like a road crossing in between. So finally when we got to that road crossing, because it was like a water stop. We thought maybe there would be someone there and they could help me, but there wasn't. So my pacer called the medic. And I really at this point was like, didn't want to stop because I was really worried. I was like going to get really behind.
Sure.
But the medics came and I think it could have taken like 20 to 40 minutes. But he iced my nose and we had to ice it for 20 minutes. And then he pulled like this blood worm that just went for like feet out of my nose. And he just threw it off to the road. No big deal.
Okay. So he pulled the blood worm out of your nose that was feet long.
Feet long, yeah.
So like how many feet are we talking about?
At least 2 feet.
At least 2 feet. A blood worm that came out of your nose. It was at least 2 feet. And he threw it in the road.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to picture this. I just want to make sure I got the story right. It's beautiful. This is ultra running at its finest. This is what people want to hear. So did it stop bleeding after that?
Yes. Every now and then it would start a little bit.
Okay.
But then like the course just got worse. Like that was when the airplane loop was after that. I don't know if you've heard much about the airplane loop, but it was death. But then I had pizza and I slept at the next aid station. That was huge. And then the next section was like Sedona. And I think I was doing okay. I met this guy named Thomas. I called him Thomas the Train. All my friends I made nicknames for, by the way.
Okay.
This guy was Thomas the Train. He is quite the character. But we just like cruised along. And actually everything was going okay until, let's see, that was after the hot section. So I'm trying to remember now. I really think it was just like until Friday, until Friday was when the sleep deprivation really kicked in. And I think that was the pain cave. So it was like chronic back pain, my nosebleed, and then now it was like sleep deprivation.
Okay.
And I felt like my body was going to break, like my hips were really going to break. I was like, this isn't healthy. Who does this? Why am I doing this? I'm never doing this again.
Right.
Had a couple of temper tantrums, you know. Oh, I yelled at my crew because they wouldn't give me caffeine pills.
Okay. Okay.
That was a good one. That was a funny one.
How many people did you have out there for crew and pacers? And I think we have a mutual friend that paced you for a while, Vanessa.
Yeah.
Cool.
My crew lead. Oh my God.
Yes,
I couldn't have completed this thing without them. They're rock stars.
Cool. How many people?
I had four people, and then like a couple of them had their wives there, but it was 4 main people.
Okay. And did you use them all as pacers as well?
I did, yeah.
Okay. So they were all just kind of trading off.
Yeah.
How long did Vanessa pace you?
I think she did 2 or 3 sections, I want to say.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Back to the bloody nose. Did it ever get better, or were you just bloody nose girl the entire race? Because from what I hear, I think word kind of got out about you being the bloody nose girl. Like people were, talking about you at aid stations and stuff, and the bloody nose girl was here and blah, blah, blah. So did it get better or did it get worse throughout the race?
I think it got better. I think it would start up a little bit again every now and then. So I was just like constantly dirty, and I think people wanted to clean me up, but I was like, I'm already dirty. Why clean up? Like there's no point. So yeah, I think more than anything, I think people were just worried.
Yeah.
Which is nice, but
okay.
But yeah.
So how long did you have a tampon up your nose?
Well, we never did put a tampon on my nose.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Because once they iced my nose, it was okay. Every now and then I just had to put like paper towels up my nose. Oh, I had to put Vaseline up my nose.
Okay.
So that was weird.
Yep.
I didn't like that.
Well, that cuts down on your breathing too. If your nose is all bloody and clogged up and you got paper towels up your nose, you can't breathe out of your nose either. So you're strictly mouth breathing.
Oh yeah.
Which, makes a 250-mile race just tougher than it needs to be, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you brought us into Friday. What day I'm trying to remember what day the race started. How many days in was that for you?
Friday would be 5 days in. It started Monday.
Whoa. Okay. And how much did you slept up till then?
Well, total I slept 8 hours.
Okay.
I think mostly I did 2 hours at a time.
Okay.
I took maybe 2 10-minute trail naps.
Do you feel like that was enough?
No. I should have slept more.
Really?
I think I would have moved faster.
Okay.
There were 2 sections where I was just like a zombie.
Yeah.
Vanessa was pacing me for one of those. And I was just, I was the walking dead for sure.
Nice. Okay. Hallucinations?
No, I'm so disappointed.
Okay.
I hear about these hallucinations, like especially the ones from Courtney Dauwalter. Like I got all excited. I was like, oh, what am I going to hallucinate about? Nope.
Nothing.
Yeah,
Have you ever had hallucinations on trail runs?
I have.
Okay, so
And
you
like
have in the
shoulder
past.
ones too.
Okay, well, it's surprising you didn't over the course of 5 days. That's pretty surprising. Okay. What is your favorite hallucination you've had so far?
Ooh. Um, I don't know why. I mean, I haven't had that many, but for some reason it was really funny. I was doing this DIY. Have you heard of the what was that one in December? It's the Rocky Mount, it's the RMR 100. It's like
Oh,
the Boulder
the Boulder
Badass
Badass.
100.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I did that.
Okay.
And I had a friend with me. And I was coming around the reservoir, and for some reason, like I saw these solar panels, like I think on the benches or something. And I was like, or was it solar panels? I don't know. I just remember seeing something and it was very out of place. And I just remember my friend being like, no, you're seeing things. Like that's not.
Yeah.
And so I just thought it was hilarious because that was probably like truly my first time really having like hallucinations.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I mean nothing exciting, like nothing. Yeah, nothing exciting.
Sure. Okay. What was the end of the race like for you? At any point, did it get better? Did you start running into the finish? What did it look like for you?
So funny enough, that last aid station, I mean, we knew I was gonna make it. It was just gonna be deathly slow.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it started. And then so this girl, Courtney Boyle, who I made friends with, we had a mutual friend, so we knew about each other and we met each other at the beginning of the race. She like flies by me. When she stops to talk to me for a second. She's like, we're like, hey, how's it going? Because mid-race, we actually texted each other. She texted me and she's like, how you doing? Are you still in? So I was like, yeah, are you still in? And she's like, yeah. So we caught up to each other and she's like, your tattoo helped me so much. Thank you so much. And then she just like goes off. And I'm like, oh yeah, my tattoo. Like, what the fuck am I doing? So I start chasing her and we just start going. We're just like, I think my pacer was like, what the fuck? Yeah. So we just start like going and us two ladies are just like passing people. Like it was insane.
Wow.
And eventually she had way more energy than I did. So, and then my back started to hurt. So I had to slow down, but we got to the Mount Eldon climb and it's very much like Sanitas, to be honest. It's a bit harder. It's a bit more elevation gain, but the trail is very similar to Mount Sanitas. Okay. So I was like, oh, I'm in my element. Cause like we hadn't climbed, I felt like in a while, it seemed like, I think. So like, as soon as we got to the climbing, I was like, yes. So I was cruising, like I put my music on and we just like killed it.
Nice.
Yeah, I got to the top of Mount Eldon. I took a whiskey shot. And then I thought I was going to be able to like pound the downhill because it was like 8 miles of downhill to the finish. Yeah, that didn't happen. I ended up taking a trail nap, like instead of just on the gravel road where it was like flat, I went and slept on a bunch of rocks. Don't ask me why. There's a picture of it. I was like, yeah, this is a great spot. I'm just nap right here on these rocks.
Yeah, for sure. Why not? That's comfy.
Yeah, I ended up I probably could have ran the last 8 miles, but since I knew I was gonna make it, I'll be honest, I just like walked in.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Was it emotional at all at the finish? Like I've had races where sometimes I'm emotional at the finish and I'm like holding back tears. And then other moments where I'm like, I have no emotion left in my body and I'm just like completely blank at the finish line. What was it like for you?
Well, Julie, who was, I think she was the RD for, did you hear the Limitless challenge they did last year?
I don't know. What was that? Limitless?
It was a virtual challenge. There was like maybe 10 different challenges starting from like 1,000 feet to a double Everest.
Okay.
And you could do it anywhere anytime, as long as you logged however, like I ended up doing the double Everest.
Wow.
And you had a week to do it.
Okay.
And she was the RD for that. And I met her during the race. She was at one of the aid stations. And I was like so excited to meet her because I was like, oh my God, you're Julie. So she was the one who gave me my medal or gave me my buckle and congratulated me. And then my friends who I had run with during the race, like some of them that got ahead of me, they came to the finish to see me finish. And like, I think that was like super heartwarming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I had a lot of energy. And then I watched my friends finish. It was very weird. It was weird to be done, I think. I think I'm still dealing with that. Like it's weird I think that's why I did the 100-mile race. Cause I was like, you're so used to just going at it day in, day out. Like it's hard to come back to reality and be like, oh, so yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Do you find that running is like an escape for you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Is that something you worry about or think about, or do you just fully accept that as like, yeah, sometimes I got to check out. I'm going to go for a long run.
Well, actually, to really answer your question, I think it started out and used to be an escape, and now it's just become such a passion of mine that like I just truly love being outdoors so much that like I could literally be outdoors 24/7.
Yeah.
And I do like it as a release from work. Like I work super early, so I can't run before work, but I do like I can't, I'm not the type where I'm like, okay, yeah, I should probably rest after like a big weekend or something, or my 100-miler or my 250, but like I don't want to just go home after work. That's boring. I gotta get outside,
Right, right.
So I do worry that like because I'm able to keep going for so long and I love it so much that like I don't want to injure myself and I don't want to overdo it. So that sometimes I do worry about that, but such as life.
Yeah, I mean, injury is a part of it, and it usually catches up with everyone at some point. What are you like when you get injured? Are you like mentally a train wreck and like I'm freaking out because I can't get outside and get my miles in, or what is that like for you?
To be honest, knock on wood, I haven't been injured since college.
Whoa. Okay. Nice. Good.
So, I mean, we could say tapering. I mean, I'm not a very good taper, obviously, but I think my anxiety levels just go up if I can't run like during taper. I just get very, very high anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah. And anxiety is something you've dealt with for a while, right?
Yeah, I've had chronic anxiety also since I was 11. So, I mean, maybe my running obviously was an outlet for me.
For sure. Yeah.
But,
were you is that an official diagnosis, chronic anxiety?
I don't know if it's an official diagnosis, but I've had chronic anxiety since that age.
Okay.
I mean, I've been diagnosed with like OCD and stuff like that, but like that was also when I was much younger.
Okay.
I just know that like it's a huge part of my life, and it's a part of my life that I don't like, and I wish I didn't have it because I do think it limits me in many ways, but I'm working on it.
Yeah. Well, not to be so negative. I mean, does it help you in any way? Is there any way that your anxiety is like fuel or like your superpower, or is that what propels you to sort of get out the door and get all these miles in?
Yes, I do believe that. Yes, I do. I mean, I think otherwise I'd probably be a lot chiller.
Yeah. What does it look like for you when you're having bad anxiety? Like what happens if, I'm just throwing a completely random scenario out, and maybe this has never even happened, but like what happens if you're at work and you start getting some crazy panic attack and you can't get out for a run? Like what do you do to sort of calm yourself down? Do you have any tricks or tips, or what do you personally do?
I either just work harder at work or I just tell myself to eat.
Okay.
Honestly, a lot of the time, if I just like stuff food in my mouth, I'll be okay.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
Or like if it happens even outside, most of the time it's either I either have to run further or go harder, or I just have to like cut it and like go home.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And if you go home with this anxiety or a panic attack, what does that look like? Do you have any rituals or anything you do, like listen to music or I don't know, chant Hare Krishna, or everybody's got something crazy that they do?
It either just gets worse and I can't sleep, or again, I just eat dinner and the food will like help me go to sleep.
Okay. Okay. Have you ever fallen into the trap of like alcohol and drugs as a way of like self-medicating your anxiety or anything like that? Because I mean, I kind of come from that background, and when people don't dabble in that, it always kind of makes me curious, like, whoa, how did you get around that? Or
Yeah.
what was it like for you?
No, thankfully, I think my vice is running.
Okay.
But I also so I am widowed.
Oh,
And so my husband, part of his death was alcoholism.
whoa.
So I know, like, I've never been a big drinker, but it's just like I've seen what it can do to people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just automatic for me not to even go there. And I know how I am. I don't mind having a beer or two. I rarely do it. I'll do it for fun if it's like, I don't know, I'm out in the mountains and we're like, oh, let's stop somewhere. But I know I really don't. I don't drink, and if I know not to drink too much because I know how I am. But again, like I think I use running as my addiction. If that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah, totally. Are you willing to talk about your husband in that situation?
Oh yeah. It happened a while ago, so I'm an open book.
Okay. How long ago did this happen?
He passed in 2012.
Okay. How old was he at the time?
He was my age now, so he was 34. He was 10 years older than me.
Okay. Okay. And did he die of like cirrhosis of the liver, or what exactly was it?
So he died of three things. First and foremost, he did die of hepatitis C. But when you have hepatitis C, having one beer is like having 11 beers. And then I honestly didn't even know he was an alcoholic. I knew it ran in his family. His sister survived, but she became a vegetable from it at one point. Like she was hospitalized, became a vegetable. She survived, but I didn't know he was a closet alcoholic, and I didn't know that.
Whoa.
So imagine being a closet alcoholic and then not knowing you had hepatitis C. Like no one knew he had it. It just they have a cure now, but this is before they have a cure. And before then, you actually have to get checked for hepatitis C. It's not just something like you get done in blood work. At least back then, you didn't get it done in blood work.
Right.
He didn't know. No one knew he had it. It was just like one weekend, he just was sleeping a lot. And he was just like any other Colorado boy around here. He like very active.
Yep.
So I was definitely alarmed by that. And I called his mom and like told her what was going on. And she came and picked him up and took him to the hospital. And thankfully I was at work. So thankfully I had gotten there at the hospital right before he went into a coma. So then he was in a coma for 7 days. And then he passed.
Wow.
So then the third thing was a staph infection. So I think all that just like ultimately killed his liver, and they couldn't recover him from it.
Wow. That's incredible. You said he was a closet alcoholic. So was he like sneaking drinks behind your back, or what was that like?
Yeah. So I do remember, so I think I told you, like, remember when I said I was in South Dakota for 5 months,
Yep.
other than like I lived in Boulder, but then I was in South Dakota for 5 months.
Sure.
So because we got married and then we wanted to start a family, and it was either move by my parents or moved by his parents. So we decided to move by his parents.
Oh, okay.
So we ended up living in Spearfish. And I just remember being at the hotel. We were checking out of the hotel, and I remember finding candles of like Jägermeister behind the TV. And I didn't think about it that much at the time. Like, yeah, because I didn't know. Like I was 24 at the time. I was very naive about all that.
Sure.
And I just figured, oh, he just had a fun night, you know, like I didn't know, like I didn't really overthink it at all.
Sure.
And then I do remember like when we did move in, I would find, and I remember finding another handle or two of alcohol. But again, I mean, to be honest, I didn't think about it. Because he doesn't, when he was with me, he didn't drink that much.
Right.
So I just didn't think like I didn't necessarily think he was hiding it. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't know.
Wow.
I didn't realize it.
And before he passed, you said he slipped into a coma for several days. So did you have any sort of closure? Were you able to talk to him and say goodbye or anything like that? Or was it just coma, then he was gone?
Literally, like I got to the hospital when I like went over to his hospital bed, looked into his eyes, and bam, his eyes were gone. Like,
whoa, holy cow. That's insane. Wow. How have you dealt with all that? Has it been hard to go through?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'll admit it's taken me up until about 2.5 years ago until I was okay.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I've definitely dealt with a lot of other things since then. But yeah, I think I'm finally okay. It sucks, don't get me wrong. There's definitely times I'm like, I still am like, why did this happen?
Yeah.
But I feel pretty privileged with my life right now. Like, I mean, obviously I'm not like a millionaire by any means, but like I'm living the best life I think that I can at the moment. And I'm very lucky, like I said, with the BTR family, and I am very particular about who I become friends with. So I'm very happy and proud of my friend group. I love my job. And I love being in the mountains. So my life is obviously very different, and it would have been a lot different if things, didn't change. But this is my life, and I'm going to do my best to live it the best way I can.
Yeah. Well, I think you're doing a great job. Like, I mean, you're out there crushing it almost every single day. You're doing all these big races. You're staying healthy. You must be doing something right. Like, and by the way, how do you stay healthy? Like, you recover from races fast, and you don't have a whole lot of taper time. Like, do you eat some special diet with like just the superfoods, or do you do crazy breathing techniques or yoga or, like I said, chant to Hare Krishna? Like, what is it that you do to stay so healthy? How do you do this?
So within the last year, which is kind of when like everything with running kind of took off for me, I did turn vegan.
Okay.
And I think that did help me. Like, I used to have a lot of stomach issues. I do think it helps with anxiety. Yep. So as far as diet goes, yeah, I am vegan now. Okay. I think that's a huge thing.
Is it like is it a pretty healthy vegan? Is it basically like a plant-based diet, or do you there's a lot of vegans that are just loading up on garbage carbs,
Right. No, I do have to say I'm pretty proud. Like, every now and then I'll have some vegan chocolate chips, but other than that, I don't eat sweets unless it's at a race. Yeah, I eat pretty wholesome. Nice. Which is hard to do. It took a while. It's not easy, but now I just feel like I'm in the habit. It helps that I obviously run a restaurant that's a superfood restaurant, so I have all of that at my disposal.
Oh, nice. Okay. Okay, that does help.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Stretching, yoga, cross training, anything else?
I hate to say it, but I don't lift weights. I
Yeah.
probably should, but I don't.
Yeah.
So before Cocodona, a friend told me I should try hot yoga.
Yep.
And so I used to be so against yoga, like thought it was so lame. I had this guy talk to me about yoga for 30 minutes and I was like, I can't date you. This is not gonna happen.
That's funny.
So, but then I had a friend talk me into hot yoga and I do love it. I mean, granted, I've only done it like twice now, but I'm trying to get more into that.
Okay.
I do think it's a really good thing. I'm not really good at stretching. I'm trying to be home for 8 hours of sleep. Yeah, I mean, I kind of just do me. There's not much to it.
Yeah.
To be honest.
But most of your exercise is running or climbing.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Right on. Yeah. A lot of people can get away with that. You know, everybody's different, you know, it's like some people can just get out and run and climb, like, and that's all they do. And they're super successful and elite athletes. And other athletes have to do every single thing. Like they can't eat one single sweet and they have to stretch for at least 40 minutes every day. And, you know, they've got it. And I have 2 days of cross training at this hour and this hour, and they've got it all mapped out. But it sounds like you're lucky there. You can just go out the door and go for it and stay healthy. I'm jealous.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's kind of back to the fun factor. Like, okay, I don't want to do weights because it's not really so fun. It doesn't sound fun. I don't want to do track workout because I mean, I'm also burnt out on track workout from college, but like it doesn't sound fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just want to do what I want to do, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I like it.
And I'm not a professional athlete. So it's not like I'm like trying to like win races and I need to do this in order to do that, you know? So I do think it's a lot different in that perspective. Like I'm just trying to like your podcast, I'm just trying to do big things.
Yep.
Like I'm not trying to win anything. I just want to like go out there and have fun. So I just think that's, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. I mean, not everybody can be super elite athletes that's out winning every single race. You know, if 800 people start the race, only one person's going to win. The rest of the people, you know, it's like they may be running somewhat competitively, but it's like, you know, like what's your why? Like, I guess that's what I'm trying to ask you. What's your why? If, you know, you're not out there to be super elite, to win these races, you just want to go out and do them, you know? So like, what's your why?
Why do I do the races?
Yeah.
Or anything in general?
Yeah, in general.
Because I have like this constant need to challenge myself and see what I can do. Like, am I limited? Am I not limited? I mean, to be honest, I used to be super slow. Like, I'm not that I'm fast now, but I used to be really, really slow. I was just, yeah. And then I don't know. I think ever since I did LA Freeway, it really gave me the confidence that I can do stuff. Like, I don't know why, but like now it's just like, so one of my tattoos is if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. Because I almost said no to doing the LA Freeway or almost backed out of it several times. Like beforehand, I got so nervous and was like, why did Kevin pick me to do this? Like, why did he ask me? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't do that shit. Like not on a normal basis. But I'm glad I did. And I did it. I was capable. And then ever since then, I just started doing things that might seem crazy and way out of my league, but why not? Like, again, you have this one life, why not try it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So now it's just like, okay, what can I do? What can I do bigger or better or, you know, crazier?
Yeah. Yeah. Where does that drive come from with you?
So growing up, I had learning disabilities. So I sucked at school, really sucked at school. So
like
I had
disabilities. Like what kind of learning disabilities? Like dyslexia?
Really couldn't retain anything. Okay. No, not dyslexia. I just literally couldn't retain anything. So it didn't matter. It didn't matter how much I studied. I would study as much as I run. So it didn't matter how much I studied. I could study, I could pull 4 all-nighters in a row. It didn't matter. And I still would like fail.
Yeah.
So that was really hard on me mentally. So running became an outlet. It was like something that I was at least kind of decent at.
For sure.
So I kind of just threw everything into that. And so I think, yeah, my drive just became to like, okay, well, I can't do well in school, and I may not become a doctor or a lawyer, but if I can enjoy running outside and doing what I love, then that makes up for it, I guess.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Like everybody's got their thing that they're good at, and everybody's got their thing that they're bad at. And it's different for everybody, you know? And it sounds
Yeah.
like you found your thing that you enjoy and that you're good at. And, you know, it's something you're passionate about. So I fully support it. And, especially somebody with learning disabilities and or anxiety or any sort of mental health issues, like running is so good for that, you know. And it doesn't have to be running. I mean, any sort of physical exercise where you're sweating a lot, it's just so good for sort of taming the brain, you know. And it sounds like you figured that out a long time ago.
Yeah.
Good for you. You approach your running and getting outside, you seem really fearless, right? Like you'll just sign up for a race that you're not ready for, but I'm going to go and do it anyways. Like, what scares you? Is there any races or any adventures or anything that scares you?
I'm scared to run with people faster than me. Like, you know, like going on a group run, like for example, I just started running with RMR, and I was literally terrified to run with them, but it ended up fine, and I can keep up, and it's all good.
Yeah.
But like I get invited to do things, and like in my head they're like way faster than me,
True.
and that's what holds me back. And I almost want to say no because I'm just scared that I can't keep up. You know?
Yeah. Okay. Side note, if you do decide to come up Longs Peak with us, I don't think we're going to be going very fast. Like, you know, so it's what, we're 8,000 Boulder and we're going up to 14,000. So that's 6,000 feet or something like that. So, you know, it'll be a fairly slow hike. And this buddy of mine that's coming with, if this all comes together, is from Wisconsin as well. So he's like living at sea level. So he's worried about slowing me down too. And I was like, dude, don't even worry about it. Like, if nothing else, we can try and stick together most of the way up and then maybe go our own paces on the way down, or, you know, whatever, we'll just wing it. So,
Yeah.
so if you have any worries about us being too fast, it's probably not going to be at that particular adventure. Do you have like a favorite piece of running gear that you can't live without?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know if this counts, but my phone, because I use Gaia, and I'm like a little kid in a candy shop. Like when I'm out running and like doing a route, and then I can like, you see all these social trails.
Yep.
And you're like, where does that go? Where does this go? And like, I'll stop and look at my Gaia, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, find new routes and find new ways to get places, and like find link ups or connections.
Yep.
Is that a good answer?
Totally. That works. No, Gaia totally works. It's awesome. People love it.
Yeah.
No, that's a good one. What is your dream adventure? Do you have any big ones that are brewing in the back of your head? Like maybe someday, like 5 years down the road, I think I really, really want to do this one.
I have two right now, that won't happen for probably at least another year.
Okay.
But I want to do the entire Gore Range traverse, from like the entire range. No one apparently has done it by foot on record, but Anton Kripnik, I cannot pronounce his name, sorry, Anton. He has done it by ski, but I don't believe anyone's done it by foot. So that's kind of, and it's got LA freeway stats. It's about maybe a little bit more mileage wise. It's got the same like elevation gain. It's definitely way more technical,
Yep.
but that's what like gets me really excited.
Yep.
So I just need to I need to definitely scout and stuff like that. And then also I want to do the Tour des Géants.
Oh, nice.
Not this year, but I'm going to go for it next year.
Okay.
But I mean, there's tons of things to do. There's so many things to do, but those are probably like the big things that I can think of.
Yeah.
In my head.
Yeah. I mean, you could live in Colorado forever and explore your entire life and still not see it all, you know?
Yeah.
It's endless. Yeah. Well, that's cool. If you could go back to your 15-year-old self and give yourself some advice, what would you tell yourself?
That's a good question. I would tell myself I would say, Laura, you do you. Don't worry about having a learning disability, and you can do anything you set your mind to, even if it involves school. One of my regrets, I mean, obviously everything that's happened in my life has brought me to Boulder, but I would love to I would love to go back and if I could redo school, I would really do that. But if I could tell my 15-year-old self to not pick a school based upon how much money you're going to get, to pick a school based upon something you actually want to study. I think that's what I would tell myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's an important one. And be kind to yourself. I think that's what I would tell myself. I would tell myself hey, buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride, but be kind to yourself, you know? Do you have any more races on the calendar? You just did 2 big ones. The beginning, you kicked the year off right. What's coming up this summer?
I'm signed up for the Divide 100 miler. It's Sky Loves. But that's not till August. And then I think I want to sign up for I Am Tough because I think they still have spots.
Oh.
Honestly, selfishly, just because I want the Hard Rock qualifier. Because I'm not sure how. I haven't looked into seeing how since Hard Rock was canceled the past 2 years, how our tickets are gonna roll over. You know.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, ultimately, I'd love to get into Hard Rock, but I need to keep qualifying every year for that.
Yep.
But other than that, I'm actually pacing a lot.
Cool.
So yeah, I have a very, very busy summer and fall for sure.
Yeah, me too. I'm doing a bunch of pacing. Do you always run with pacers?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Yeah. What do you enjoy most about having a pacer, or what's your favorite thing to do while you're pacing somebody?
Thing that I enjoy the most about a pacer is, this is a weird answer, but I like that they get to see me at my rawest, when I'm in raw form.
Yeah.
Because I just think it's hilarious, and then they get entertainment. It's free entertainment. I'm providing free entertainment here.
Yeah, for sure.
And then for me, when I'm pacing, I just enjoy making my runners laugh and distracting them, because that's what I'm there for.
Yeah.
So, if I can do a good job doing that, then that's all that matters.
Yeah. That's a good pacer. If you can keep your runner laughing, those miles will eventually keep clicking off. So that's a good one right there. Are you going to be at the Leadville Marathon next weekend by chance?
No, not the marathon, but I will be at the 100 miler.
Okay. Yeah. We'll be at the 100 mile too. We're pacing a bunch of people out there. So
cool.
You're just pacing, right?
Yeah. So I'm so excited. So this girl that I met from Cocodona just asked me to pace her.
Oh, cool.
And she's known for the big buckle. So I'm stoked.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy how you just meet people and then it's like, hey, will you come pace me at this race? And next thing you know, you're best friends. And, I mean, if you go pace someone at a 100-mile race, and like you said, you kind of see them at their rawest, you guys are going to be friends forever. 10, 20 years down the road, whether you know it or not, you're still going to have that moment that you guys shared together. You're going to know each other on an intimate level. And it's one of the coolest things about ultra running and pacing. I love pacing. I love helping people out. And one of my favorite things to do is just sit at the Leadville finish and watch people finish. It's like
Yeah.
so emotional for some people. Some people are crying. Some people are just barely crawling. Some people are just so pumped. Like I'll sit there with shades on and get like all teared up sitting there watching people.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been to Leadville. I'm pacing at Hard Rock too, so I'm super
Cool.
stoked for that. And I've been to Hard Rock, and it's everyone has to go. It's an experience that I'll never forget. So I'm
Yeah.
super stoked to be there again.
100%. Yeah. Awesome, Laura. Did I catch you in the middle of your runs? Do you have to go do a couple more Sonitas laps tonight?
No, I got it done beforehand, actually.
Got it done. Okay,
Yeah.
nice. I like it. Perfect. What do you got coming up for the rest of the week? Are you going to be crushing more miles? What are you up to? Do you have plans?
Yeah, I'm hoping to go up to the high country this weekend.
Nice.
So I went high. I did some big runs last weekend, but it was so hot.
So hot.
And even up high, I did a 13er and it was still hot.
Yep.
So I'm hoping to get pretty high this weekend. And yeah, just be with my friends and keep enjoying the mountains.
Nice. You're living the dream life. That's it right there. Hanging with friends and doing it in the mountains. That's it right there.
Right?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for doing this. Again, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm sorry about last time.
Oh, don't sweat it. I'm glad we could make it work. So this is all good, and I really appreciate it. So, do you have a website or Instagram or anything that people can follow you on? I think you just joined Instagram.
I did.
Okay. Do you know what your
website? I'm on
Instagram?
Instagram, Facebook.
Okay.
I'm a big Strava person because I like to stalk
Okay.
people. I'd have to look up what my Instagram handle is because that's how new it is.
Okay. Okay.
I think I've posted like anything.
Okay.
But yeah, I can look that up if you need me to. But
no
yeah, I'm
worries.
new to Instagram.
Okay.
So
Getting out there. You gotta.
Yeah.
Welcome to the 2000s. You know, you're finally on Instagram. Good job. Oh, that's funny. All right. Well, find her on Strava. She's blowing up Strava. That sounds like your spot. So, well, cool. This has been awesome, Laura. You're inspiring. I mean, I don't know how you do it. Like, I'm an ultra runner. I'm outside quite a bit. I'm doing all kinds of stuff, but you're out there just crushing. So hats off to you. Just keep doing what you're doing. It's an inspiration to see people out there just killing it. And you know what? It's cool to see people killing it at a really fast pace, but it's even cooler to see people that are out there killing it that aren't winning races. And they don't care about that. They're not signing up for Cocodona to win the thing. They're signing up for the adventure, you know? And that's what I like about you is you're out there crushing it, doing big miles every week. And this isn't your job. You know, this is just something you're passionate about.
Yeah, exactly.
To me, that's cool.
Well, thanks for having me and like being interested in little old me. So
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think your story is going to be cool. It's going to inspire some people and people want to hear from the Nosebleed girl. Like, what's her story? Where does she come from? So now everyone's going to know. So I love it. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And yeah, let's chat about Long's Peak for sure, because I'm totally in. So.
Okay, cool. July 8th, put the date in your calendar. So if you can get off work that Friday, that's something I still have to finagle at this point. But I'm guessing we'll start late July 8th, like maybe, I don't know, 8-10 p.m. And then, we'll be at Longs in the daytime. We'll do up and down Longs and then run home. So, just another easy day, right?
Yeah. Well, and I can contact you, but I can also get Beta from Paul if you want.
Oh, yeah.
Paul Hoogie too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Whatever you can get, help us out. Should be fun. It'll be an adventure.
Yeah.
Killer.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Laura. Have a great rest of your night. And thanks again for doing this. I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right.
Bye.